And as we start to leave the Firestone station, let's wave goodbye to Pat and Craig and Gordon. We have 3 station masters here today. And there is Marianne, our conductor. She'll be back on the train by the time we come back. We're going to be traveling over about 2.5 miles of track, and it'll take us roughly 30 minutes to complete the journey. And we'll be making our first stop here at Susquehanna before we return to Firestone Station. Now we have 7 districts here at Greenfield Village, and we're entering the first district right now. This is the Ford Model T district. And that white building up ahead on your left-hand side is the birthplace of Henry Ford. He was born in one of those upstairs bedrooms on July 30th of 1863. Now this farm was originally located in the area of Ford Road and Field Roads in Dearborn. It was a 114-acre farm at the beginning. And you can see the merino sheep. And they produce a very fine quality wool. In fact, some of your better we're having some problems with the microphone back front, be cutting in and out there apparently. As we pass the farmhouse, you can see down Main Street where we have such things as the Wright Brothers Cycle Shop, the Wright Brothers Home. There's also the Ford Motor Company building, and right behind that is the loading dock where you can catch a ride on a Model T. Further down Main Street is the Herschel Stillman Carousel, and you can get a ride on that. And we're now passing the Miller School, one of the schools that Henry Ford attended as a youngster. And we're now coming into the Thomas Edison at Work District, and you can see a statue of Thomas Edison on the left-hand side. He is seated there, probably thinking about what his next invention might be. Now the third building is the Metro Park Lab, and that's where Edison did a lot of his work. In fact, this is where he developed the incandescent light bulb, along with the phonograph and many other inventions. In fact, during his lifetime, Edison had 1,093 U.S. patents, far more than anyone else at that time. Now the mustard-colored building on the left-hand side is the Sarah Jordan boarding house, and that's where many of the unmarried men who worked for Edison would stay. And that building was one of the first residences in the world to be wired for electric lights. And we're now coming into the Porches and Parlors district. And this is where we have a number of homes that have been occupied over the years. And each of them gives you some ideas about the lifestyles and the times in which the individuals who lived in them were living in them. Now here's the Ackley Covered Bridge. This was built in 1832 in southwest Pennsylvania. It went over the Wheeling Creek. And it's a covered bridge in order to prolong its life. An uncovered bridge would typically last about 10 years. The covered bridges would last 10 times as long. And if my math doesn't fail me, that would be about 100 years. Now the oldest building here in the village is the Cotswold Cottage. It's the limestone building at the top of the hill on our left. That was built in the early 1600s and was located in Cotswold, England. And it was one of the cottages that Henry Ford and his wife Clara fell in love with, and they were able to buy it and had it taken apart and brought over here to Greenfield Village. Now please remain seated as we stop here at the Susquehanna station. As we start to leave the Susquehanna station, let's wave goodbye to Ben and Alana. The station masters here today. Now as we move further into the Porches and Parlors district, we'll be passing on our left the Susquehanna Plantation. This was built in 1830 and was located in the Tidewater region of Maryland. It was a 700-acre plantation that grew wheat, corn, and tobacco. Now, the oldest American-made building here is the Plimpton Family Farm. A home, I should say. This is the reddish building on our left. This was built in 1640 and was located in South Sudbury, Massachusetts. And if you can think of and imagine this, 2 adults and 7 children lived in that small building. And here's the Ferris windmill, built in the early 1600s and was located on the north shore of Cape Cod. And there's the Daggett Farmhouse. This was built in 1754 and was located in Coventry, Connecticut. It's an example of rural living in colonial America. And this is our horse paddock area. This is where we bring our horses after they've been working in the village at pulling wagons and carriages. They have a chance to rest and eat and get ready for the next time they are called to duty. Now, the locomotive that's pulling our train today is the oldest regularly working steam locomotive in the United States. It was built in 1873. And it was used in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. It was operated by the Calumet and Hecla Mining Company. They would use this locomotive as a switch engine and also to pull cars loaded with copper ore. Now, they were doing most of their work in the Keweenaw Peninsula area of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Now, if you're a football fan of our Detroit Lions, you'd like to see their practice facility. And that'll be the large barn-like building on the right-hand side. It's on, it's kind of a forward. And of course, right next door is the test track for the Ford Motor Company, where they test their vehicles throughout the day and evening. And up ahead is a parking facility. That's where we have, when we have overloaded or overflow crowds, people can park their vehicles back here and ride a shuttle bus up to the main gate. And now I'm going to remain silent for a few moments and let you enjoy the sights, sounds, and yes, even the smells of locomotive travel back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. I'll say something before I stop talking, and that is, that was a blowdown that the locomotive just did. They were blowing out the impurities inside the boiler, and by doing a blowdown, they get rid of those impurities and scales until they do a complete boiler wash, which normally occurs after 30 days of operation. Take it into the roundhouse and the inside of the boiler. And we're now in the Oxbow area. This is Oxbow Island on our right. It's actually surrounded by the Rouge River, which you can see on the right as well. It's a little bit below us. And it's all natural over here, whereas a couple miles behind us, you would find the Rouge River has a cement bottom and cement sides, and that was done for flood control purposes. But over here, everything is natural. And it looks like they've been doing some landscaping work, cutting down trees in this area. I'm not exactly sure what their plan is, but I'm sure it'll look a lot better once they have completed all of their work. Now, we do have a small herd of white-tailed deer in this area, as well as turkeys and other small critters such as possums and raccoons, and perhaps even a skunk or two. Walnut Grove area, and you can see our summer event field, and you can see the markings of a baseball diamond here on the left-hand side, and that's because this is where our historic baseball teams, the La-Di-Dahs and the Nationals, play baseball on Saturday and Sunday. And they take on teams from other areas of Michigan as well as from the Midwest. And they play according to rules that were written back in the 1860s. And some of those rules would say you can't wear a ball glove. You have to catch that ball with your bare hands. And up ahead is the Henry Ford Academy. This is a public charter school that's open to students who live in Wayne County, Michigan. They're actually selected for the academy based on lottery. And when school is in session, we have about 500 students who attend, and those are from grades 9 through 12. Now the 9th graders have their classes over at the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation. 10th, 11th, and 12th graders have their classes in this area. And you'll notice a large blue boulder on our left-hand side. It's been painted blue, and it contains the names of all of our graduating seniors. And speaking of seniors, we do have a special set of classrooms for them. These Pullman cars have been converted into classrooms, and they're used by our seniors. Swanee Lagoon. This is a catch basin for water overflow here in the village. And it's a popular spot for our turtle population. In the warmer days, you can see turtles resting on, or sunning themselves, I should say, on the logs and branches that are in the water. And speaking of turtles, I would be remiss in not talking about one snapping turtle in particular. He's as large as a garbage can lid, and we call him Godzilla. He's kind of scary, big and scary. Now as we move along here, you'll see at the top of the hill on our left the Martha Mary Chapel. This is a non-denominational chapel. It's a popular wedding venue here in the village. And Henry Ford named it after his mother, Mary Ford, and his mother-in-law, Martha Bryant. And here is the Taste of History on our left. This is a cafeteria-style restaurant. It's open until 5 o'clock, but at this point in time, they'll probably just be serving snacks and drinks. Now, the larger white building on our left is the Eagle Tavern. That's also a restaurant. It's a sit-down style restaurant where they feature a menu that dates back to the 1830s, and the serving staff in there is also dressed in period clothing from that era. So it's truly a unique dining experience. They are open until 3 o'clock as well. So maybe on your next visit here to Greenfield Village, you may want to stop in, put your name down so that you can get a meal at the tavern. And we're now coming up to the Smith Creek area. This is you can see that the platform area has been completely torn out, and they are putting some foundation in there, and they're going to be putting in a cement pad, as well as some new gates. So that'll be ready, I think, in early May. And here's the Smith Creek Depot building. This was built in 1858. And was located in Smith Creek, Michigan, about 8.5 miles southwest of Fort Huron, and about 50 miles north of Detroit. And over there on our left is the newest addition to the village, and that is the vegetable building. It used to be part of the Detroit Central Market. It was built in 1861 and operated through 1894. It was then closed, taken apart, and moved over to Belle Isle, where it became a horse stable of all things. And then Henry Ford obtained the building back about 20 years ago, and we've had it in storage until last year when we began to construct it here. And right now we're passing the Toledo and Milwaukee Roundhouse. This is where we service and maintain our steam locomotives. The roundhouse was completed in the year 2000. Then it's based on a roundhouse that was located in Marshall, Michigan. That was built in 1884, remained in operation until the 1930s, and then it was closed and taken apart. we were able to secure some of the materials from that building and incorporated them into our roundhouse here. And you can see on our left the Liberty Craftworks area, where our skilled artisans can receive doing such things as glass blowing, pottery making, weaving, printing, and tinsmithing. We're now coming into the working farm district, and you can see the Firestone farmhouse up ahead, as well as the Firestone barn. Farmhouse was built in 1832 and was located in Columbiana, Ohio, and it's the birthplace of Harvey Firestone. Harvey went on to create the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company, and he was a major tire supplier to the Ford Motor Company when the company was constructing or building Model Ts. And they also provided tires as the years went on. In fact, Harvey Firestone and Henry Ford were very good friends during their lives, not lifetimes. And Harvey would accompany Henry Ford on many of his camping excursions. And we're now coming into the Firestone station. So please remain seated until you hear the train whistle. And we'll be exiting on the right-hand side of the train, but at this point, please remain seated. Let's wait for that whistle to sound. That will indicate that the air brakes have been applied.